I have a quick video today, which is going to be regarding touring and more specifically what I do when I come to a venue and the fixtures are not in the GrandMA3 library from before. So, as a lot of you probably know, when you are out on tour and you get to the venue, time is the enemy regarding patching into the house and making your system communicate with the house rig and so on. You kind of want to do this as efficient as possible, and although in this situation where we get to the venue and the fixtures are not in the library from before, we could always just go into the GDTF builder and build it, or we could also, if we go here to fixture types, we can select new fixture, edit the DMX modes, and then insert, build it all from scratch. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube explaining this process, and I'm not going to talk so much about it, mainly because I haven't really gotten a workflow with this that is fast enough yet for me to be able to use it when I'm out on tour and I have to work with some tricky fixtures. But I will show you how I go about it. So maybe if we're very lucky, the fixture we don't have is maybe just like a LED bar of RGB. What you can do in this case, in case you don't know, is that you can just go to library and then under generic, you can just search for the attributes like intensity, RGB, and then you got all these generic fixtures here to help you out. However, this doesn't really work with moving fixtures, because if we search for like pan tilt, for example, we don't get anything. So if we're talking about, for example, a spot, then we will have to dig a little bit deeper. So what do I do in this case? The first thing you're gonna need to do is to find the DMX manual for the certain fixture online. You should be able to find this, but in some cases you won't be, or maybe you are not connected to the internet, or who knows why. The other option then is to go on the house console and try your best to figure out what is the different attributes, numbers, where you see that the red is on channel 2 and so on. And if that also doesn't work, then I'm afraid you'll just have to go into the DMX view here and turn on the tester encoder bar and just go through all the channels and try your best to just figure out what is where. But regardless of how you go about finding the different attribute numbers for the fixtures, here's what I do. We go into the patch. In our patch, we just patch in a few spots. Doesn't really matter what fixture it is, just make sure it has enough channels for what you need. So let's just, for example, find some alpha spots, spot 700, and choose some DMX mode. And so now we have 4 alpha spots in our venue spot group. Next thing you're going to do is to go into fixture types. You'll find the alpha spot 700 now at the bottom. I like to change the name of it to the name of the city I am in, and maybe also the name of the venue, because sometimes you return to venues and it's good to just know oh, this is where they have the weird beams or spots or whatever. So now I'm in my hometown of Oslo, Norway, so I'll just call this Oslo spot. Alright, so next thing we do now is we just click edit, and then we just select some DMX mode. Maybe we'd even call this Oslo spot mode, and we edit this one. Here we get the channel numbers for the fixture. We can see we have red is our channel 1 and green is our channel 2. So if you then have the right channel numbers for the fixtures at the venue, the only thing you really have to do is to just change these numbers. Say that RGB is 10, 11, and 13, then you go, and then of course we get a collision here, and say that you don't need these, you can just click none. It might be smart anyway to just remove the channels you don't need, just so you won't get any surprises. So really just change these numbers to what you have. Also, here's an important thing: don't make your fixture file have more channels than the fixture in the room, because then you will have some problem patching it. You will have some colliding addresses, which is not in real life, but your patch will say so. So maybe just delete the channels you don't need and then change these numbers to the right numbers for the fixture in the venue. So next thing we do now, we can go out of this and back into our patch. And here we have our Oslo spot in the patch already. If for any reason it's not there, we can also search for it now in the patch, like Oslo, in the show, Oslo spot, and then we just find the Oslo spot mode. There it is. Now we can go out of the patch window, we save this, and now things should be communicating, but some things might not be working as it should fully yet. A very common thing is that you might not get anything out of your dimmer when you turn them on, and this might be because the default value in the shutter of the fixture file you originally used is not the same default value as it should be in the fixture, which is in the root. So what we do is we take our shutter at minimum, and we just slowly turn up the encoder wheel until we see what we should get to have like an open shutter as our default. We just take if say 40 is the value of what would be the open shutter, we just go into the patch, we go back into the fixture type, and then we can edit the Oslo spot and then type in shutter default 40, for example. You should probably do this with both the gobo wheel and also the color wheel, just in case that the default value is not 0. And for the color anyway, you will have to, yeah, this one has the RGB actually, but if you had the color wheel, let's see if there's, yeah. So you should just take the color wheel, scroll slowly through it, and when you see the right color in the fixture at the venue, you just store this in your color presets. In this case, the color might not be the same in the visualizer as in real life because, you know, you're just storing certain value at the color attributes, not really a color. Same thing with the gobos. And yeah, that's pretty much how I do it when I get to a venue and I encounter some fixtures that is not in the MA3 library from before.